The arena lights dimmed, and a hush swept across the crowd as the entrance music thundered through the speakers. Every eye in the building turned toward the stage, the tension thick enough to taste. The revived monster wrestler stepped into view, his silhouette larger than life, each step echoing like a drumbeat of warning. Fans cheered at first, expecting the spectacle, but even their excitement carried an undercurrent of unease. He moved with a deliberate slowness, like a predator stalking prey, his eyes fixed on the ring. Commentators exchanged glances, their usual playful banter replaced by quiet apprehension. "Something feels different tonight," one whispered into the microphone, his voice barely audible over the roar. The monster wrestler climbed the steps, his massive frame casting a shadow that seemed to swallow the ring whole. As the bell rang, his opponent, a seasoned veteran, circled cautiously, sensing the storm ahead. The first clash was explosive, the monster charging forward with an almost feral energy. The impact rattled the ropes and sent a shiver through the audience. Gasps erupted when the monster's first slam left the veteran momentarily motionless. Commentators struggled to keep up. "This is unsettling," one said, his words heavy with concern. The monster didn't wait for the opponent to recover, he pressed forward with a barrage of brutal strikes. Each blow echoed like a hammer on steel, and the crowd's cheers began to falter. A suplex landed with terrifying precision, the ring shaking under the force. Spectators stood, some with hands over their mouths, others urging the referee to intervene. But the referee hesitated, perhaps caught between the rules and the raw spectacle unfolding. The veteran tried to fight back, but the monster's relentless assault was unlike anything they had prepared for. Another devastating slam. The crowd's excitement turned to uneasy murmurs. One commentator finally voiced what many were thinking: "This is beyond entertainment. Is it really necessary to go this far?" The question lingered in the air, unanswered. The monster's face was a mask of focus, his eyes cold and unyielding. Every movement was calculated, every strike a statement. The veteran struggled to rise, only to be met with another crushing takedown. Chants of support for the fallen wrestler began to rise from the stands. Still, the monster pressed on. He locked in a hold so tight the commentators shouted for someone to stop it. "This isn't wrestling anymore," one said sharply. "This is a rampage." The referee finally stepped closer, his own expression betraying hesitation and fear. Yet the monster released the hold only to unleash another shocking maneuver. The sound of the impact echoed like a cannon shot. Fans who had once cheered now pleaded for restraint. Even the cameras seemed to linger on the pained face of the veteran, capturing every grimace. Social media lit up in real time. Viewers at home flooded timelines with messages of alarm. "Stop the match," one post read. "This is getting dangerous." Commentators read some of them aloud, their voices tinged with disbelief. The monster stood tall, breathing heavily, his chest rising and falling like a war drum. His opponent lay sprawled, barely moving, yet the assault showed no sign of ending. Security staff edged toward the ring, uncertain if they would need to intervene. The audience shifted uneasily, torn between awe and fear. Another commentator broke the tense silence. "We celebrate power in this sport, but this is terrifying." The monster turned briefly toward the commentary table, his glare silencing the room. It was as if he thrived on the very discomfort he created. The veteran managed to roll to the ropes, clinging for support. But the monster seized him again, hoisting him into another punishing throw. The crowd groaned as the impact reverberated through the arena. Even the lights above seemed to flicker under the weight of the moment. "Someone stop this," the commentator said again, more urgently. The referee finally stepped in, but the monster brushed him aside with a menacing glare. Gasps erupted as the official stumbled backward. The balance between performance and real danger had shattered completely. Medical staff prepared to rush in. The veterans team shouted from ringside, demanding an end. Still, the monster advanced, unstoppable, like a force of nature. Every second felt stretched, heavy with the threat of real harm. Fans who once idolized the monster now questioned their loyalty. Some turned away, unable to watch. Others recorded the chaos, their phones capturing history's darker side. The atmosphere was electric, but with fear instead of excitement. Finally, the bell rang again, this time not as a signal of victory, but as a desperate plea to stop. The referee called for the match's end, waving his arms frantically. Yet the monster stood unmoving, his chest heaving, eyes locked on his fallen opponent. The arena fell into an eerie silence. Commentators spoke softly, almost in disbelief. "I don't know what we just witnessed," one said. "This is beyond wrestling, beyond sport," another added. "It's terrible," the final voice concluded, the word hanging like a judgment. Security swarmed the ring at last, forming a human wall between the monster and his victim. The veteran lay motionless, attended by medics, as the crowd watched in stunned quiet. The monster finally backed away, but not before raising his arms in a gesture of dark triumph. Boos rained down like a storm. Commentators continued their somber analysis. "Where is the line?" one asked. "When does performance become real harm?" Another replied. Their questions had no easy answers. Outside the arena, the debate raged on. Fans and critics alike flooded forums with outrage. Some defended the monster, claiming it was part of the show. Others called for immediate suspension, even a lifetime ban. Promoters faced a storm of criticism. Was this the spectacle they wanted? Did they encourage such brutality for ratings? Sponsors began to question their association with the event. The veteran was rushed to a nearby hospital. Reports of his condition trickled in slowly, each update fueling further debate. Doctors assured the public he was stable, but the damage, both physical and psychological, was undeniable. The wrestling world had been shaken to its core. In the days that followed, headlines blazed with condemnation. "Monster or menace?" Read one. "Entertainment gone too far?" asked another. The monster's name trended worldwide, for all the wrong reasons. Interviews with fellow wrestlers revealed deep unease. Some admired his strength but questioned his ethics. Others condemned the display outright, calling it a disgrace to the sport. A few confessed they feared stepping into the ring with him. The monster himself remained silent. No interviews, no apologies, no explanations. His social media accounts stayed dark, adding to the mystery. Fans speculated whether he felt remorse, or simply satisfaction. Commentators revisited the footage repeatedly. Each replay revealed new details: the cold precision, the unrelenting power. They analyzed every move, every expression, searching for intent. But the question lingered: was this rage or performance? Regulators announced an investigation. Meetings were held behind closed doors, the stakes enormous. Fines, suspensions, even legal action, all were on the table. The sport faced a reckoning it could no longer avoid. Yet despite the outrage, ticket sales for future events spiked. Curiosity mingled with horror, drawing even more attention. Some fans admitted they couldn't look away. The monster had become both villain and attraction. Through it all, the veteran's recovery remained the priority. Updates of his slow but steady healing brought relief to fans. He issued a brief statement thanking supporters and calling for reforms. His words carried the weight of someone who had seen the sport's darkest edge. The monster finally broke his silence weeks later. Standing at a press conference, he spoke few words. "I did what I had to do," he said flatly. No apology followed. The room erupted with questions, but he offered nothing more. Reporters shouted, demanding explanations. He simply walked away, leaving chaos in his wake. The legend of the monster wrestler only grew. For some, he was a cautionary tale. For others, a symbol of unyielding strength. For the sport itself, he was a mirror, reflecting the fine line between spectacle and danger. And that line, once crossed, would never be the same again.